Welcome to the High Level Entrepreneur, a podcast with me, Joella Skog. In today's episode, I want to talk about how you can have the courage to stay the course, stay on your path, and hold your standards, not negotiate with yourself, not waver on that path. And what are some of the common reasons to why you leave your path, why you don't stay the course, and how to overcome some of those mindset blocks that come along that make us doubt ourselves on the way? I recently had a conversation with someone who told me that I know what to do. Like, I know my strategy. I know what's important to me. I know what kind of clients I want to attract, but I find myself doubting myself along the way. When something doesn't go my way, I doubt my strategy. I doubt my path. I question myself. Is this actually right? Is this actually true? And like, will I actually step up into being the entrepreneur that I want to be, the person who has the results that I want to have? Do I trust myself to do it? Do I trust myself to succeed? And there's this doubt that doesn't always align with the actions. Like, the actions might be there, the strategy, the doing, the execution, all of that is there. And you know that you have the quality of the work. You have you feel very safe in the fact that I'm an expert at what I do. My clients get amazing results. But despite that, I want to raise my prices, but when people question my prices, I start to doubt. Or when I launch something that feels so connected, so aligned, so correct, when I don't see the when the external world doesn't fall into place immediately in alignment with the reality I want to create, like when I don't get the results that I want quickly, I doubt. I change something. I keep changing. I leave my path, and I don't know if I trust myself to stay on my path. And you know what? That is the number one. I mean, that's such a good summary of the number one problems I see with entrepreneurs who have achieved six figures in their business, or like they have grown to a certain level through a lot of effort and pushing and doing an execution, right? And they are now not just building for the short term to hit a certain number, but they actually want to grow beyond that. Like, they want to scale to multiple six figures. They want to be able to sell at premium pricing levels, work with ideal clients, because none of the people that come to me care only about selling at premium, pricing. They care about quality work. They care about quality clients. They care about a quality life. Right? That is really what premium business model is about. And all of those things are important, but on that path, you keep wavering because when the results aren't showing quick enough, or when someone's doubting you or questioning you, or when someone else pops up in your industry that seems to be doing even better than you, you start to doubt if your way or your path is the right way. So how do you stay the course? Like, how do you actually manage to continue on your plan, on the thing that feels aligned and true and right to you, that you know can work if you stay the course, if you focus, if you just do it, if you don't doubt yourself, if you don't hold yourself back? How do you do that? So the first thing I want to say, that a big portion that comes in here is self-trust. How do you build self-trust? Well, you build a bank of proof that proves that you can trust yourself and that you can handle whatever it is that comes your way. And when I say that, some people might feel, but I don't trust myself to build a $500,000 per year business because I've never done that before. How could I trust myself? To that I say, you don't need to know that you can do it, in order to trust yourself to do it, because you can borrow other things from your life and from your business. You can borrow from other things you have achieved and done in the past to show yourself that you can trust yourself and your abilities and your capacity. Okay? And the thing isn't always like, I need to trust myself to achieve, 500K. Maybe you need to ask yourself, what kind of person do I need to be to run a business that's generating 500K a year? What do I think that I need to do? Like, what are my blocks to overcome that, to be that person? What are those things that I need to do? And those are the things you need to trust yourself and your ability to do. So let's say focus as an example. Maybe you don't know that you could be at 500K a year, but you know that version of you who is at 500K a year, they are focused. They are long-term thinkers. They are visionaries, right? So if you currently feel like, I don't have focus right now, I'm not a long-term thinker, I keep jumping from thing to thing, I don't even have a long-term vision, I just have my 3-month goal, and I don't even know why I'm doing what I'm doing, right? The problem isn't that you need to start trusting yourself and your ability to achieve 500K in revenue. The problem is that you need to trust yourself to be able to focus and be a long-term thinker and, act in alignment with your long-term vision, right? And your goals, and not just the short term. So how do you trust yourself to be able to become someone who has focus and is a long-term person? Well, it is to act like that person now. It is to actively engage in behaviors and patterns and make decisions in alignment with someone who has focus, in alignment with someone who, thinks big, someone who acts long-term, who plans long-term. It's actively to change the way you make decisions. I just had a conversation with someone also a couple of days ago about talking about Industry Leader Lounge, and someone told me, and this person told me, like, the idea of joining for 1 year felt very overwhelming. Like, that felt like such a long-term commitment. And the thing is, everything I had heard in this conversation with this person, I actually told them this. That's why I'm even bringing it up now, because this person is probably listening right now and knows what I said. I said, well, everything that you have told me is your problem is the fact that you are constantly jumping from thing to thing. You don't have a long-term vision. You don't have a goal. You have always kind of just focused on this month's revenue, right? So when you are telling me you struggle with the idea of committing to Industry Leader Lounge long-term, that is the exact, I'm not surprised, because that is 100% a behavior and a thinking that is aligned with your current identity of being someone who doesn't have long-term thinking, hasn't built a sustainable long-term business, hasn't built a brand, has only engaged with short-term behaviors. And I said that to this person, right? And this person was like, you're so right. You are so right, Joella, because yes, you're right. I would be way more likely to invest into a 6-week course than a year-long program, mentorship space, because something where I feel like I can focus 6 weeks on something and actually do something for 6 weeks. Yes, I can see myself committing to something like that. But the idea of committing to something for 1 year feels scary. So literally, acting like the person that you want to be and the results that you want to have. Like, if you want long-term sustainable results, you need to act like a long-term sustainable person and make long-term sustainable decisions, right? So when we talk about like losing your path and losing your way, again, there are multiple parts, but a big portion of that is a lack of self-trust. Like, you don't actually trust your ability to do it, because you don't see yourself yet as the person who has the results that you want to have. But again, what are the qualities of that person that you believe that you don't have? And the easiest way to embody those qualities is to start acting like that person, right? And that literally might mean making decisions like investing into 12 months into something when you've previously been only investing into short courses, or it might mean investing at all when you're someone who has never done that before and tends to hold your money very tight and never wants to invest in yourself. It could also mean staying the course with one offer and decide that I'm going to commit to this offer for 1 to 2 years and really focus, because my natural way of being is to jump from offer to offer to offer and have multiple offers because I get bored quickly. And that is my identity. But if I do really want the outcome of what it means to be long term, then I need to start acting like it, and I need to try this like long-term thing and see how that makes me feel. And when I get triggered in that, when I feel like I'm wavering on my path and I want to, try something else and I want to launch something else, instead of doing that and following that, inkling, why not ask yourself, why am I now triggered? Why do I feel like I want to cancel this offer, do something else? Why do I feel bored? Why do I feel unstimulated? Why isn't this, something that I can commit to? And the other thing is, sometimes people do ask themselves that question of, why can't I commit? Why can't I go all in? And the real problem is actually the fact that they are not doing something that they are genuinely in love with, passionate about, or in aligned with their purpose. They are trying to make an offer work simply because that's what's going to sell. That's what they believe will sell. That's what they believe people will buy. But then you will only really feel good selling it. You'll feel good being in a sales meeting, having someone say yes, but will you feel good delivering that offer, right? Like, will you feel good delivering that offer over time again and again and again? And, I always say you don't have to commit to something long-term for real. Like, just like people get married, but they also get divorced. It's not like you have to get married with the idea that it's literally illegal to get divorced. It's not. You can break up with your business and your offers, but you can't go into a marriage thinking that you want to break it off in a few months, right? Just like you can't go into a business strategy, a business model, and an offer thinking that you want to break it off in a few months and you might not want to do this anymore. And, you have to actively look at maybe the reason why I'm not growing further than I am right now. I'm engaging in a certain behavior, decision-making, and a pattern that is actively keeping my business where it's at, because you are your biggest problem in your business and you're also your greatest asset. Like, you can be your business's greatest asset and you can also be your business's greatest threat. Like, you can literally be the reason why your business grows exponentially and be the reason why it stalls or why it slows down. And the question is more like, well, are you willing to look at what behaviors are you engaging in? What are you doing that is not making your business grow? Like, are you constantly making decisions from emotions and do you always need to feel safe in every single decision you make, and it always needs to feel very safe and not scary at all? Well, then you're probably keeping yourself quite small and you're probably, playing a safe game. You're probably not making any kind of substantial stuff that could actually grow and scale your business, because if you constantly need to feel safe in everything you're doing, you're leading from your current identity. You're making decisions from where you're at right now, because a decision like, let's say, pitching yourself to 3 podcasts that are hosted by people in your country, that feels safe. But the idea of pitching yourself to podcasts that are way bigger or in another country, that feels unsafe. So you don't do that. That is the problem. I try to more look for discomfort, like not always, not in every single thing, but I I'm actively trying to be a little uncomfortable, invest a little bit more than I really feel comfortable doing at a moment when I don't feel comfortable 100% doing it. And I try to stretch myself, and I'm going to focus even more on that actually in my personal brand. Stretch myself in my brand on the types of things that I'm willing to share, um, the types of formats I go into, how big I want it to be, how much I invest into ads. Like I stretch myself and I push myself. As a small example, like I invested a lot into my latest training, right? I don't know whether that would lead to ROI or not, but I have to believe that it will. I have to act like it will. If not, how could I even like get any kind of outcome from my training? If I'm just kind of getting 40 signups to a training, how could I expect to get any substantial income or sales as a result of that, right? If I invest, if 40 people signs up and 10 people show up live, and then I expect to be making money from all those people, like I need to constantly act big in everything I do. Like if I'm doing a training, let's invest, let's go all in on this training, on this launch. If I'm launching an offer, like go all in on that. Or whatever it is that you're doing, even the creation of your offers, go all in on that. Like whatever it is that you do, approach it from a bigger lens than you really feel comfortable doing. Like something that just feels a little bit uncomfortable. Because the problem is, again, the reason why you stray from your path is because you do know what to do. You know what your path is. You know what you want, but straying from it sometimes means you want to change it, or you want to keep it smaller than you should. Like you expect that your path means to always do the same things over and over. Some things you need to do over and over because those are the things that work, and other things you need to outgrow and leave behind in the past, and other things you need to change and upgrade how you do it. And you might need to do that the whole way. So when you are on your path, when you start your path, you might feel like it feels fun and comfortable and exciting, but the further along you get, you are faced with things like, oh my God, I need to invest. I need a mentor. Or it might be, oh my God, I need to go bigger. I need to be seen by more people. Or it might be, oh my God, I need to, hire a team because I'm just like I have too much to do. And that feels scary. Like you're constantly going to be faced with fears after fears, like a wall of fear are always going to come up as you are on your path. It's not like your path, it stays the same and it's always easy and it's just always aligned and you're always connected. Like you will constantly be faced with these difficult decisions. Like for me, growing my team last year was one of those things where I had to realize that this really was aligned with my path. But in my identity, I needed to shift something and step up into being the CEO and entrepreneur that I know that I am and want to be. And I want to have support. So I needed to upgrade my leadership and my commitment to my business and, investing into that kind of long-term support. There was an upgrade. There was a challenge. That wasn't simple, but that's part of being on the path. Like you will be faced with those things. Like I need to hire someone, or I need a mentor, or suddenly like I need to go global, or I need to change language on my channels, whatever it is. Like you will be faced with all those things. So a big reason why we waver from the path is because suddenly we hit this wall or we hit this moment where we're scared and we decide that even though we were presented with the opportunity to invest into a mentorship, we say no because we got scared. Or we are faced with the idea of hiring an assistant, hiring someone. And like we are in interviews with people and then we just like look at the numbers and we're just like, that's a big investment. That's scary. I'll just do it on my own. Or you might be faced with, let's go all in on this webinar launch, and you realize that I think I need more leads. I need more people to find this, and that will require different types of activities from me that I've never done before. And then no, never mind. Let me not do that thing. Let me do the same thing that I always did. Right? Or it might be my strategy isn't working anymore. I need to shift something, and then realize that's scary to shift something, right? Or I need to grow my brand. I need to go international. No, wait, the idea of being seen beyond my Instagram channel, that feels, wow, scary. So again, like your path, your true path is not always the path you set out on from the beginning. You will be distracted by shiny diamonds that seem like good ideas, like leaving your path, leaving your offers to do something else. You will be faced with fear, like difficulties, problems, challenges. Things will not work for a while until they do, right? You'll have long periods when you suddenly get like, okay, shit, there's something that's not working. I need to hire someone to help me, or I need a mentor or coach. And you're going to have to be faced with that decision to do that. And you're always going to be asked to step up, and every opportunity is an opportunity for you to decide who you are and decide your identity and decide what identity you want to make decisions from. Because something I always try to do when I am on my path and when I am faced with fears, decisions, up-levelings, is to ask myself, but what am I building here? What would Joella 1, 2, 5, 10 years from now tell me to do? What would she tell me is aligned to do and is the right thing to do? That version of me who has overcome these problems, these issues, these mindset blocks or fears, and have already done the very thing that I want to do. Like, what would she tell me? And that's kind of what I try to lead from. It's like, what would she tell me? And how can I step up here in my leadership? How can I step up into the identity that I know I want to lead from? So if I know that I want to be the person who is a CEO in my business and is not always in the operations or all the details, I actively need to stop looking at details, right? I actively need to stop having opinions about details, unless that's what I value and I believe that the future version of me is a very, very detail-oriented person, right? But you have to ask yourself, like, what is every level on your path going to require of you? Because it's going to require of you to step into a new identity, to overcome a fear, to go against your like instinct to say no, or to go backwards, or to be distracted. So those are some of the things that you're going to be faced with. And I hope this episode was helpful to you. It's almost like I forgot what I was saying because I was just kind of speaking from the moment of what I'm feeling about this situation. But if you feel like you are currently on your path and you're wavering from that path, borrow from your future self is my best recommendation. Borrow from your future self. Start acting like the person who embodies the qualities that you want to embody. If you are currently a short-term person and you want to embody the qualities of a long-term person, start pretending like you are that person by acting like them and making decisions like them, and then you will become them, right? If you are someone who is scared of raising your prices and you're keeping yourself small, start acting like someone who has higher prices, who keeps themselves big. Like start acting like them before you feel like you are them, before that is your comfort zone. Because the only way for that to be your comfort zone and become normalized for you is to be it and decide to be it. And also, by the way, be surrounded by other people who are doing it and are living it and being it, right? That's why like Industry Leader Lounge is such a great space, because you are surrounded by like-minded people who understand this stuff and are dealing with the exact same challenges that you're dealing with. And that's why, I think you are on your path and you need to act in alignment with it. But I love being able to support my clients on that path and remind them of staying the course when they're wavering, to remind themselves to go back, to live in alignment with their values and the kind of person that they want to be and the kind of person that they're ready to step into, right? And what I think is so amazing is when you are surrounded with other people that are doing the same thing, you are reminded of who you are. So to those of you that are listening, I want to remind you that Industry Leader Lounge is about to close its doors to its August 31st start. We have a couple of days left. So I want you to message me personally on Instagram right now and tell me why you think Industry Leader Lounge might be a place for you, and we can discuss if it is. So message me on Instagram. I will leave a link in the description. I would love to speak more about you. If you could relate to this podcast episode, Industry Leader Lounge is definitely a place for you as you are going on your scaling journey and towards your vision to become a long-term builder, entrepreneur, industry leader. I'm so excited to speak to you. Thank you for listening to this podcast episode. We'll talk soon.